Hello, my name is Danny Fried. I wish I'd become a diving instructor, but I didn't. I spent the last 20 years frying my brain. The only good thing to come out of this is I have stories, many true, funny stories, and I want to share one of these stories with you every single Friday.
Danny Fridays!
In today's video, I want to tell you about the time I was so drunk I fell into a river, although I don't think it's technically known as a river, more of a glorified puddle, but yet I still almost died. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm a sensible man. Everybody says, Danny Fried, what a sensible man.
Hi, kids! Bloopy!
Which is why it makes absolutely no sense that last weekend, on my way home from a party, I fell in a river. And when I say river, I don't mean like an actual river. I don't have to pass the Amazon on my way home from a house party. I live in England, and in England we have these sneaky little rivers. This river was so sneaky, I didn't even know it was there until I was in it. Let me take you back to last Friday morning, the morning I almost drowned in the world's sneakiest river. Basically, we were having a party. We were all getting spondangly dangled, but because I'm such a sensible man, I decided to pack it all in and leave the house at about 6 AM. Now, my other non-sensible friends would have probably carried on to about 6 PM, but not me, no, because I am a sensible man.
I'm a giant Johnny!
As soon as that clock hit 6 AM, I finished off my Ribena, bashed my last bit of dib-dab, and I sensibly walked out the door. This is me leaving the party. Now, as you can see, I may have drunk a little bit too much Ribena, and I may have done a little bit too much dib-dab. I'm going to use this reenactment to try and work out for myself how the hell I ended up in that river. So here I am trying to work out the best way to get home. As you can see, I haven't got a clue. That house there is my mum's house, and back in the day I used to sensibly try and jump over that fence because it saved me about 5 minutes of walking, but I can't tell you how many times I have fried it trying to jump over that fence. I once caught my nutsack on a bit of wood, and another time I caught my eyelid on a bit of barbed wire, so yeah, I don't mess with that fence anymore. I now go that way because that is the way my new house is. Anyway, this river's a little bit like playing Where's Wally. You can never see Wally, can you? Just like you can't see this river. Because all I had to do was walk down that grassy path, but no, I walked that way straight into the river. I remember specifically thinking when I was in the river, why am I in the river? It was cold, it was dirty. Obviously, I didn't want to be in the river, so I tried to get out of the river. Problem was, I couldn't. Every time I tried to climb out of the river, I just slid back into the river. And the worst part was the stinging nettles. The stinging nettles were stinging the absolute crap out of my arms. So after 3 failed attempts of trying to get out of the river, I realised I couldn't get out of the river, and my only option was to try and swim home. So the next thing I know, it's 6 AM in the morning, I'm dib-dabbed off my nuts, and I'm now doing the breaststroke down the world's sneakiest river. I'm not gonna lie, I had the yump, but I thought to myself, at least I'm making some progress, at least I'm making my way home. But then I realised I had hardly moved anywhere. There must have been some sort of strong current or something. I was swimming, I just wasn't moving anywhere. I thought, sod it, and I started doing water donuts for a laugh. Finally, I managed to get some momentum. I was actually swimming. I was going places. As I swam past these houses, I thought to myself, imagine looking out the window at 6 AM and seeing some random ball keys that are going for a swim. That would have made me laugh if I wasn't the one swimming. In hindsight, I wish I didn't walk into the river, but that's the thing about life. Sometimes you walk into rivers, that's just the way it is. Life doesn't always go how you want it to go, and at that particular moment, life wasn't going how I wanted it to go. But finally, I got a little bit of luck. I noticed a little bit of the bank that wasn't slippery and covered in stinging nettles, and I managed to crawl myself out of the river. On one hand, I was really happy because I didn't drown, but on the other hand, I was really annoyed because I was cold, wet, and covered in river I crawled into a ball and started thinking long and hard about the meaning of life. Why am I here? What is the point of all this? But then I soon realised I didn't have time to do that. I had to get into survival mode. I thought about doing a Bear Grylls and drinking my own piss, but then I thought, what would be the point of that? I know Bear Grylls always says, whatever situation you're in, drink your piss, but I didn't really fancy drinking my piss, to be honest, so I didn't drink my piss. I was more concerned with hypothermia. I needed to get home before I caught hypothermia, but the problem was I lived a mile that way up a hill. However, my dear old mother lives only 30 seconds from where I was, and yes, I may be a stupid 34-year-old bald man, but what I needed most of all right now was a hug from my mummy and for her to tell me everything was going to be okay. So I waddled as fast as I could to my mum's house and banged on the door and waited patiently for her to come downstairs and make everything better. Unfortunately, that is not how things went down. She opened the door, took one look at me and slammed the door back in my face. Obviously, I thought there must have been some sort of mistake. Maybe she didn't recognise me because of all the river on my face. So I banged on the door again. Now, I don't know whether or not you've ever fallen into a sneaky river, but if you have, the last thing you need is somebody shouting abuse at you, especially from somebody you love. So that's why it hurt so much when she opened the door again and moved out the way as I tried to hug on her as I splattered on the floor.
I love you, Mommy.
All I wanted was a hug, but she didn't want one. Something about me being a stupid or something. I didn't realise I was leaving a trail of river slime around her house. I was dib-dabbed off my nut. I fried it, didn't I? I was basically an overgrown slug crawling around the house, begging for love, leaving a trail of goo everywhere I went. Next thing I know, I've been bundled into the shower, and what proceeded next may well have been the most aggressive wash ever known to man. She's grabbed the shower head, sprayed it into my face while screaming into my ear. Whenever are you going to learn, boy? You're 34 years old, you're off your Babylons, falling into rivers, leaving mud all over my house. I said, Mum, it was a sneaky river. I didn't see it, did I? You think I just fancied a dip? Do you think I just fancied practicing my breaststroke? No, it was the world's sneakiest river. You shouldn't be having a go at me. You should be having a go at the river. But she wasn't having none of it. Apparently, the river wasn't to blame. I was. There wasn't a sign. Where was the sign? People are probably falling into that river every single day because there is no fucking sign. Better yet, somebody built a fence, so I wouldn't have minded walking into the world's sneakiest fence. Yes, I may have banged on my knee, but I wouldn't have almost drowned, would I? Yeah! But yes, in hindsight, I fried it, didn't I? So I'd like to take this opportunity to say sorry, Mother. Although I am a very sensible man, on this occasion, your son may have not been 100% sensible. My mum had work at 7, I turned up at 6 and spread river all over her house. It was bang out of order, but in my defence, I don't care how old you are, you could be 98 years old, and if you fall into the world's sneakiest river, you're going to want your mummy to come down and give you a big hug and tell you everything's going to be alright. Although saying that, if you were 98 and you fell into that river, your mum would probably be too old to give you that hug, and even if she was still about, you ain't getting out of that river anyway. You may as well just add a tombstone to the end of the river that says, here lies an old geezer who drowned because he did too much dib-dab and there wasn't a inside. I'm 35 and I almost didn't make it out alive, so what can we learn from this story? If you're grooving at my mate's house and you decide to take the shortcut home, whatever you do, don't walk into the world's sneakiest river. But if you do, whatever you do, don't go to your mum's house. Just accept that you are a stupid human being, crawl into a ball and freeze to death. Thank you for watching, guys. I have been Danny Fried, the world's most sensible man. Please don't forget to like, share, leave a comment and subscribe because I make videos every single Friday.
Danny Fridays.
Also, follow me on all my other socials because I make comedy on there too. Links in the description. Thank you very much. See you next week. Goodbye for now. Watch out for those rivers.